G's Creations, back for another Flosstube. This is Flosstube number 26. I can't believe I've been making these for well over a year, and that I stuck with it. You don't know how many times I was like, should I start a Flosstube? I don't know. And then how many times I thought to myself, nobody's even watching these stupid videos. What are you doing, Amy? No one cares. But I have been getting some really nice comments. I have been blessed with some new friendships. People who I haven't met yet, but I feel like I know because I recognize their name. They comment every video almost. And I see them like on comments of other people's Flosstubes, and it's like, oh, I know her. It's like running into them at the grocery store. So anyway, I'm super glad I stuck with it, and I'm still having fun, so I'm still going to do them. All right, let's get into what I worked on the past 2 weeks. So last time I had started the Peter's Day Out free pattern from Lindy Stitches. And I was going to make a couple more from the Pinker and Pumpkin blog and one from Shannon Christine Designs that I found free on the Fat Quarter Shop blog. Well, I finished them all, and I didn't just finish them, I fully finished them. So first one up is Peter's Day Out. Now this is a old battery. My phone just told me that my battery is going, but these won't be too long. This is an old little wooden, it's like a little purse carrier thing that I got from Provo Crafts way back. You're supposed to have, they come with all these little different cute things that you can paint on them and glue them on the front. So they're just sitting in my bag of, my giant box of unfinished wood in my craft room. And so I pulled one out and I thought, hey, this would look super cute for a finish. So I added some of this weird little ribbon that I had in my ribbon basket and put him on there. I made this crocheted flower and added a button in the center. I really like it, and it sits in my tiered tray on the very top. Very, very happy with that. I did all the called for colors on this, and this is a fabric that I dyed myself. So there we go. Then I finished the two, it was a little lamb and a little bunny from Pinker and Pumpkin. There's one. Is it kind of focusing? Yeah. And here's the sheep with his little chicken friend. And I finished these into little eggs. Now you'll notice there's like this weird dent on here. Getting the fabric to stick to this odd shape was a little tricky. And so I used my Wonder Clips that I use for quilting. But it apparently made some dents. But of course, they sit in my tiered tray. The back isn't really seen. And on the front, it's not as noticeable and not as bad. When I did these, I had several different trims that I could have used. But I kind of like this pink crazy one. And I just did a chain stitch to crochet it around. And my daughter also said if they were like going to be part of something else, like a big, part of a set or something, it would be too much. But since they were just kind of two sitting sort of by themselves in the tiered tray, she thought it was perfect, and I did too. And I really liked how the pink color went with this was all the same piece of fabric that I had, and yeah, with some little blue polka dots on the back. So those are those. Very cute. These are super teeny tiny, super adorable. And there was more room on that piece of fabric. So here is the Shannon Christine design, the little Peter Cottontail delivering his Easter eggs and flowers in the back of this truck. I did add a uncharted backstitch because I love a good backstitch. It made the bunny pop out. It just made the whole thing look finished. Perhaps if I had done it on a different color fabric, it wouldn't have been as necessary, but it needed it for this. And then again, this is another crocheted flower that I made, and backing material the same as on the front. Cute, cute little pillow. Very happy with that one. And then there was even more room on that fabric, and Pinker & Pumpkin had just released another pattern on her blog that she had just finished, and that was this adorable little girl bunny with some chicks and carrots. Oh my gosh, can you even? Now her original suggested floss colors were much darker. She does like a more prim kind of look in a lot of things. And I love a good pastel for Easter. I just think that's what fits. So I lightened up all my colors. I have them written all down, and I will put them in the show notes. So in case you want a more pastel-y look for yours, you can get the pattern on her blog, which I will also put down in the description notes, and then I'll put my color conversions that I changed. Very, very cute. Again, so with these, I don't want you to think that I just sat here and crocheted all these flowers just to finish these pillows. I mean, not that there's nothing wrong with that if that is what I had done, but that's not what I did. Sometimes I get into a crochet addiction, let's say, and I just sit at night and crochet a bunch of stuff. I've made a bunch of little preemie hats and booties for the NICU babies all over the world. I've stitched up a whole bunch of different flowers. I've done some hearts. I've done some like little basket things. There are 2 of them. They're in my tiered tray for Easter as well, with some little fake wooden eggs inside them. So I just had a whole bunch of these in different colors, but a lot in white. And so I just went through and added those because they were already done. It makes finishing really easy that I have so much already pre-made embellishments just sitting around from when I'd done them before. So I got 5 pieces out of that fabric. When I say that I'm stingy with fabric, that is why. I've seen some people do one ornament this size right in the middle of the size piece of fabric that I used to get 5 things on. I don't understand that thinking. I can't. That much waste boggles my mind. I can't do it. I just can't do it. I got 5, and they're all finished just fine. I had room for everything from that one. Anyway, yeah, some of y'all are acting like fabric's cheap. It isn't. Okay, so now I have another finish. What? Amy, girl, you on fire. I know, thank you. I had actually finished this last year. This is a WhiteHouseStitchery, WhiteHouseStitchery. I will link them again down below. Pattern that I bought on her website, her Etsy shop, a while ago, and I stitched it up last year. And then I knew what I wanted to finish it on, but I had never gotten around to it because I couldn't find a good backing fabric. What are you talking about, Amy? Show us. It's this. And so I finally went with this. I decided I wanted the delicate white lace to pop out, and so I chose this lighter fabric that just had some similar colors in the background. And then I just grabbed a whole bunch of different ribbons, and it's not even really a bow. I just kind of tied them together and added 2 buttons on top of each other because I have so many buttons. And did that, and it sits again. This is that tray that I have finished lots and lots and lots of different things on, and it's metal, and so they just attach with magnets. And so that is what I have done. There's this one. Yeah. It's kind of crazy, but I kind of like it. I like the bow is just kind of floofy down there. So those are my Easter finishes. Now, I kept walking by and just kind of, oh, my pillows, they're so cute. And added them to all my other previous finishes, like my very first or second video. If you go to my playlist, shows where I finished a whole bunch of other Easter pillows last year. And my husband was cracking up because he was like, you and all your pillows, you're like Smog the Dragon, only instead of gold, you have pillows. And I'm like, it's very true. Very true. So anyway, loved it. Okay, I do have one more almost finish, but it's not cross stitch. Maybe I should put it at the end, but I'm going to put it in here. And that is I just have to do the binding, okay? It's already trimmed, just got to sew on the binding. I made up this really quick little quilt for our neighbors, and on the bottom, it has their son's name on it. And on the back is super soft, awesome Minky, little navy polka dots on the top and bottom and red in the middle to kind of coordinate it all. I thought the polka dots on the back went with how there's some polka dots on the front. Our neighbors, they live on the bottom floor. And we live on the top floor. Sorry, I just kicked my own camera. And it's their first baby. So I bought some super cute onesies and I whipped up that quilt and I'm going to bring that to them. But I wanted to get it done so I could show it when I filmed, which was good because the baby was born on March 14th. And I want to give them this gift before their baby's a month old because, hello, loser girl. Get them their present. Okay, so other things I have been stitching on. I didn't just stitch Easter. I still was working on my 25/7 project. I've made some good progress. Very happy. I have the florist shop. I got quite a bit done on that. I changed the colors. The building is supposed to be more of a brown color, and I substituted in a red color. And I made the door is supposed to be more pink. I also made it a more vibrant, bright red. And I think the writing in here where it says florist is also supposed to be the same brown as the tree limb. And I'm going to change it because every florist shop that I have ever been, including the florist shop I worked in as a teenager, again, why this made the cut, because all these buildings on here have something personal from my childhood in them. Anyway, they were all brightly colored. They're all super fun and like bright white and pinks and greens and purples and really cute, or like in the shape of a flour barrel. That's where I worked, was at the flour barrel in the parking lot of the 7-Eleven and some other grocery store and a coffee shop. So brown was just like, no. So I think I'm going to change it as well to a pink or even just maybe a white that will say florist in there. But yeah, making good progress on that. Those are going, so when this house is done, I only have 3 more to go. And then this thing is finished. And like I said, these houses are taking me a little over, 2.5 weeks to do. Maybe 3 if some days I don't do my 25/7 stitching because I'm too caught up in something else, which is kind of how I work. But then I'll work on that for like an hour or an hour and a half sometime later. So I'm gonna be done with these like really soon, really soon, which is fun because then I can work on getting it finished. I'm going to make it into a wall hanging quilt, and I have been saving all these little jingle bells from the kids' chocolate Easter bunnies and Christmas Santas from Lint. You know, they come with the little bell wrapped around them. I've been saving those bells for a few years now, and I want to line the whole bottom of the quilt with jingle bells. So there is that. All right, then the other thing that happened, what I've been working on, is WIPCO numbers were called, and that's from Jessie Marie Does Stuff. And she picks the numbers on the 27th of the preceding month for the next month. So on the 27th of March, she picked numbers 10 and 7. And my numbers then, on those, in those slots on my board, one of them was my True North Sampler by Twin Peak Primitives. Now, I had already worked on this one time before, I believe in January it was called. And that was a brand new start at that time. And the reason like I said, I don't have that many whips, so I put new starts on my WIPCO board of things that I really wanted to start. And so this was one of them. And so when I started working on it this go around, I did, hold on here, I've done the flag. The pole was there, but I did the flag. I worked on some of the Mountie. I did the crown and some of this bit. Some of it was already done. Then I came through and I added all this grass. Whoa, this thing is big. All the grass. Did the trees. Did the red outline in the cabin. And then what's done on the cabin. And that's just on the 3 days I've worked on it. Today is the 4th day, and I worked a little bit more this morning while I was at the garage getting our winter tires taken off and our summer tires put back on. And I'll work on more on it tonight. So I'm super happy with my progress on that. I am feeling very, very comfortable that this will be finished by the end of the 10 days. And so I will have it all ready to hang up for Canada Day, which is July 1st. Yay! And yes, had I stitched this the opposite way around, I'd have a whole big piece of fabric left for a whole new project. Hate to waste fabric. But I wasn't sure how big it was going to be. It was before I discovered that super awesome fabric calculator that somebody mentioned in my comments that I've been using ever since. And this lives in I made a little, it's like a little, fake American flag. But then on the other side, it's my Swiss Edelweiss and Swiss cow fabric for all my patriotic stitchings of all my different countries that I love. Oh, look! Ha ha! This floss that I was working on, that's from the cabin. I'll put that back in there so I can work on it later. Okay, and so by the time I film again, the 10 days for True North Sampler will be over with, and I will have started on my other number that's called for WIPCO this year, and that is my Pride and Prejudice Blessing, also from Lindy Stitches. And again, my goal is to work 10 days on this. I'm pretty sure I will finish, but I didn't want to put finish on there because I felt like that would give me too much pressure. So I'm just doing 10 days and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, there's a few more words, and then there's like a whole thing of more of these kind of flowers and some more that's down here in this corner. So yeah, that's what I will be working on. Okay. Oh, I should maybe fold this the other way because it's getting a crease. Yeah, I will do that. So now, personal life updates. Well, things are going a lot better. I was kind of, sad a little bit ago. We've, cried myself to sleep a couple nights. Kids making not great decisions. But things are slowly better. Also, I just keep lowering my expectations, and that helps me not be too upset. Plan for the worst expect the worst and then you're never disappointed. Anyway, no, things are sort of mostly kind of a little bit better. Not perfect, but a little bit better. My youngest daughter right now is in what is called Husi. Now, I cannot speak for all of Switzerland because each canton does things differently. But in Zurich Canton, all the kids who are in Gymnasium or Kantonsschule, which is the one that takes you to college, they go for 3 weeks. They go off with all their school kids, all their school friends, and they live somewhere else. They get to come home on the weekends, but they sleep there during the week for 3 weeks, and they have teachers there whose job it is to teach them how to do laundry, how to properly clean a bathroom, how to cook, how to sew. They do like shop class, I guess. And they have the shop class and the art class they have at school as well in their normal classes, but this is they're like making a lamp and kind of something a little more more detailed. And so a lot of the kids are sewing their own sweatshirt, their own hoodie. Alexandra, unfortunately, was sick for the first week of the 3 weeks with COVID that she caught from somebody else from school. And so many of the kids were gone for the first week. And so because she doesn't have the full 3 weeks to work on it, she's making a t-shirt. But even that, I'm like, t-shirt material, it's stretchy. It's not the easiest to work with. And that's what they're learning to sew with. Now, my kids who went to Sekundarschule, which is the school where you go and get an apprenticeship, they, of course, are better cooks and better sewers because they had that like for 2 or 3 years of classes, and these guys are just getting 3 weeks, but at least they're getting 3 weeks. And they're also learning to do the cleaning, which the kids in Sec didn't do. So there's pros and cons to both of it. She's allowed her phone from after lunch until like 9 o'clock at night. But like during dinner, of course, they're supposed to be with the group and they play games in the afternoon or whatever. But so she's been able to contact us every day. She's having a great time. She loves it. And she's eating some food that she has never been exposed to before or would just turn her nose up at because at home she doesn't have to eat it. She can then go make herself something else. But that's all there is. And so she's being forced to eat it and discovering some things that she thought were bad or not so bad, but also gaining appreciation for her mother and her mother's cooking, which is also nice. Yeah. Oh, and I just bought tickets to a concert for my kids in May to Dua Lipa. I've never heard of her, but my friend's like, hey, my husband just bought 4 tickets to Dua Lipa. It's only in standing room only because it's like almost sold out. But do your kids want to come? I think he can get. There's still a few tickets left. So I went on Ticket Corner and I was like, asked my kids, I'm like, have you ever heard of Dua Lipa? You want to go? And they were like, oh my gosh, yes. So I bought them 3 tickets. I'm not going to be going. I'm going to be dropping them off. But, they're 14, almost 18, and almost 20. So, well, almost 15, almost 18, almost 20, because their birthdays are all this summer. So they can go by themselves. Plus my friend will be there with her husband and their 2 older kids. So she said, we'll chaperone them. And she goes, I'll film when Noah, my son, gets called up on stage to sing with her, which was hilarious. But anyway, she's just kidding. But yeah, so we did that. And other than that, in not this next week, but the week after that, we are going to Mallorca for 4 days, the kids. So that will be fun for a little spring vacation. And so I might have a teeny tiny bit of a tan. I'm hoping it's warm enough to at least lay out on the beach. I don't think that I'll go into the water, but I'm hoping it'll be warm enough to at least lay out on the beach and get a little sun. But I've never been to Mallorca. I've been to other parts of Spain, but I've never been to Mallorca, so I'm very excited. I guess that's it for me. I hope you guys have a great next couple of weeks. Thank you so much for watching. Seriously, thank you so much. And thank you so much for taking the time to comment and giving encouragement and just, having dialogue. Because like I said, I keep seeing the same names over and over and it's like, oh, she wrote again. Oh, what does she have to say this week? Oh, and I'm really hoping that someday we can all meet up. That would be awesome. All right, I guess that's it. I will close this out. Cheese!